All right. This is the scalability demo. And Sylvester, you've got the first and currently only item.
Right, sounds good. Okay, let me share my screen. And I will share about. Yeah, so I think most of us know that shared state needs to go to Redis clusters soon. We have saturation forecasted, and it's not getting better. That the trend persisted. So I think there was discussion on whether should we have any short-term mitigation process for it. And based on this thread, which is linked here, we were hopeful. So we because last week it went down. You can see every spike is a week. So I think last week it went down, and we wanted to observe to see if it persisted, but it did not. So I don't think we can waiting and hoping it's not going to work. So we're going to start doing something which is also which is very likely going to be some sort of a short-term like sharding out of another workload. And I was poking around with the main epic, this 1055 here, which is not formed yet, but I have an issue under it which tracks all the components of Rails app which needs to be fixed so that it's Redis cluster compatible. So one big one that I found out today while fixing an MR. So I've opened this MR where I did one simple change, and which is over here. This one. I added shared state into the redis.yaml. So it would run it would run shared state against a Redis cluster, which means that everything that is not compatible will break. So the pipeline will just be read, and you can click through and see what's broken. And the goal is to fix those. So I fixed a bunch of them, and there are some that are not. There are some that are quite sizable, are split out into a separate issue where they are tracked. So there are multiple issues being tracked. Some of them have been merged. Okay, these are MRs. Oh, wait, the issue is not here. But there are other MRs like this one. So I think Bob was the reviewer for this, so you'll be familiar. So we're trying to introduce hashtags so that it's Redis cluster compatible. So these efforts are going on in the background. But one of the major blockers I found today was that PubSub has a Go dependency, which is in workhorse. And workhorse, the Go library that it uses, the Go library that it uses does not support Redis cluster, which is troublesome. But the thing is, for PubSub on Redis, you don't need to have a Redis cluster because you don't technically need one because Redis cluster clients publish to every node. So as long as the subscriber is connected to any of the node, the subscriber will get the message. But Workhorse also does a GET request. So the GET request will need to be Redis cluster. Like the client needs to be Redis cluster compatible because it will likely get a moved redirection, and the client needs to know how to shift to the next the right node. So because of that, if we were to include that as part of the epic to as part of this epic, then it would increase the complexity, I guess, because it's basically swapping out a gem, not a gem, sorry, a Go library dependency. Yeah. So and I was looking back at this issue. PubSub takes up a sizable component of the workload that's being performed on Redis. I think this is the chart, and if you open the Thanos link, you will see this is more recent. So I think this is group commands for all, and this is PubSub. The blue one is PubSub. So PubSub does take up quite a large chunk. But as to the proportion of CPU, we'll probably need a flame graph or a deeper dive to better estimate if it's worth splitting out PubSub. But now I've just discovered an additional reason why it might be good if we move PubSub up. In addition to saving some like buying some time, we also do not need to upgrade the Go, like not upgrade, but swap out the Go dependency on Workhorse. So that keeps things a little simpler. Yeah.
I believe the
No,
CAS workload is also PubSub one, isn't it? So maybe we could
sorry.
have a PubSub Redis.
Yes. Wait, sorry, about I was adjusting the volume when you started, so could you repeat? Sorry.
Sorry. So the CAS thing that I discovered like last week or something like that, I believe that's also a PubSub workload, isn't it? So maybe that can all
This
go into the same.
wait, I remember you mentioned something. It was in Slack, right? Like I saw
No,
I
the
saw a
issue.
Slack. Oh, wait, this one?
No, it's the workload investigation issue.
All right, that one is for Kubernetes agent. Right? Hold on, it's here.
Yes,
But
that
that one
issue.
doesn't run on Rails, right? If I'm not wrong,
No,
it's a
but if we
it's a
can
separate.
move it,
Ah,
and
yes.
like I don't know how busy it is at all, but the pub sub thing, the graphs you were just looking at would
Ah,
include that. I think the
oh,
workload is
okay.
also pub sub.
I think it's
Right,
really
so
minimal though. I don't think
Yeah,
it shows up in like I don't think it's meaningful in terms of load.
but it needs to go away from this instance if we want to replace that
yeah,
instance with
eventually.
something else. Or all the pub sub workloads could just stay there and we migrate the other stuff out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Oh, but that's true. But in like the original motivation for shutting up is to buy headroom for the rest of the shared state effort. So yeah, I think it would be nice if we can leave it there, but I think we might be racing against the clock for this. Yeah.
I mean, in terms of things to move out of shared state, this is at least the last time I looked at kind of the workload distribution. This was one of the obvious candidates to move out. I know we've done some optimization to kind of buy us some time over the last year or so, but we're again bumping into the limitations. My question
Yeah.
would be, if we're gonna be working on this and if we're gonna be doing a migration, could it make sense to actually make this Redis cluster ready? So spend the extra cycles, migrate to a Go client library that supports Redis cluster, migrate, move that workload out into an actual Redis cluster, and then hopefully, I mean, there were some caveats with PubSub and sharding because it's one big key currently. So maybe it's, I don't know if we can make that horizontally scalable, but if we can, then we can sort of solve that properly for the future and not have to worry about it again.
Yeah, it's true. Like PubSub on Redis cluster is not. I think that's wasted. Like there's wasted compute because it's sent to every node. There is like sharded publish. I believe it's yeah. So this one is more is sharded PubSub. It's meant for Redis cluster. So I'm not sure how the migration process would be like. Would it be a two-step thing or is it a large cutover thing? But yeah, I have to read out more about it. But I think yeah, it would be good if we can move into a Redis cluster. Otherwise, it will just become a time bomb. Like we will have to deal with it maybe a year later or 2 years later. Yeah, in any case, I've pinged Stephanie and Alejandro, both of whom are not on this call, so I'll probably wait for more news from them. But I think this is the general direction. So the next step is just to figure out, is it worth, like is the workload sizable enough, and what Igor mentioned, the strategies to move it. Are we going to is it just a simple move, or are we going to move it into Redis cluster, and yeah, things like that. I'll thanks for the link. I'll look into it because I was looking on at here, and these are the suggestions, and I then demo started. So yeah, then that's all for my part.
glad we're on top of that.
How far along are we with cache?
Cache? Oh, tomorrow, wait, time zone. Wait, I'm trying to count in time zones. Like, I think in 15 hours time, we'll be doing the production migration, like the start of it, which is the dual writing part. Then we'll let it sit over the weekend because all the keys were TTL. As in, we'll observe the Friday. If anything goes back, we'll roll back. But if it's smooth, then we'll let it expire the keys over the weekend. Then we'll start doing the validation next week. So if all goes smoothly, we'll be done next week.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, we have those, like, we have like I think probably 10 million or 20 million keys, which are pipeline status keys, which we can't TTL because there's just too many of them. And yeah, I think yeah, it would be nice if we can get it out. So like, I was discussing with Stephanie, depending on the state of the Redis migration MR, like how ready is it? If it goes out and it can be run before we start running the migration script, we might delay the read cut over just so that we can TTL the keys and so that we can reduce the time which the validation script runs. Because right now we don't have a very good idea on how long it takes to run. Because when we run it on staging, we could ramp up the rate to as fast as possible because it's staging. But on production, we have to find a comfortable rate that doesn't push CPU too much, even through the peak. So that might extend the length of the validation. So yeah. But the idea is that when the validation script starts running, like from then on, like let's say it starts at time t, from time t onwards, new keys should be dual written, so we don't have to worry about those. We're just migrating the keys that haven't been touched since the start of the dual write. Yeah, because we have keys that TTL after 1 week or like 2 weeks in cache, which is pretty long. Yeah, so I don't think we'll wait that long. We'll just do the migration script, which is useful because we'll have to use it for shared state. So yeah, it's like a dry run for that.
And the migration, the script ignores all of the pipeline status ones and so on.
Yeah, we can set an ignore. So that's the thing. Redis scan doesn't let you do an inverse, sort of like inverse grab. You have to still
you
grab
need
the
to,
keys
but
and
you
then
don't need to migrate them because then we
yeah,
would
you don't
have
migrate them
another
still.
key without the TTL on the other side, one that we wanted to get rid of anyway.
Yeah. So that was why me and Stephanie would prefer if we could migrate. We could like remove the pipeline keys first because then we don't even need to scan them out. Yeah. So
But that merge request was almost ready, wasn't it?
I don't think it's that ready. We haven't gotten database feedback yet. No, I think the structure might need work, but overall the logic is all right. So it's more of structuring and yeah, things like that. So I think I might ping Matt from database, not Matt from our team.
Yeah.
To look at it. Yeah, that's all. Anyone else have anything?
Going once, going twice. Thank you very much.